Hello and welcome to How to Deal with Grief and Trauma. My name is Nathalie Himmelrich. How to Deal with Grief and Trauma is completely self-funded, produced and edited by me, Nathalie Himmelrich. Consider making a small donation to support the podcast. Go to bit.ly/support, capital G, capital T, and podcast. I repeat, bit.ly/supportgt podcast. Thank you so much. And for more information, please visit Nathalie's website, join the podcast Instagram page, and subscribe to the newsletter to receive updates on future episodes. Welcome to today's episode. My name is Nathalie Himmelrich, and I'm your host. As we are slowly moving into June, I wanted to take some time to celebrate. On the 21st of June, 2022, I started this podcast. So it is going to be 4 years that I have been podcasting, and as part of that, I have prepared a mini-series. I think I love mini-series because it gives me sort of a topic, a span to think about it. So I want to welcome you to this very special mini-series. So as the podcast is turning 4 years old, I have been sitting with that number, letting it sink in, because when I launched this show in June 2022, I had no idea where it would take me or how many of you it would reach, how many of you would listen and continue to listen. And also, given the research that most podcasters stop after 3 to 5 episodes, I was just discovering how intense this really was and whether I could sustain it. So to mark this anniversary, I have pulled together the 10 most listened to episodes in the podcast history. And I'm doing something that I have never done before. I'm going to go back into each one, reintroducing the guest to you, summarizing what we talked about, and reflecting on why I think that conversation resonated the way it did. I would love to hear what you think, why it might resonate. So we're going to count down from 10 to 1. Let's start. We are at number 5, and this one is a little different from the others because it is not just one episode. It is 2. This conversation with James Fish Gill was so rich, so generous, and so full that I knew before we even started recording that a single episode would not contain it. So episode 51 and 52 go together, and I recommend listening to both in order. James Fish Gill, Fish as he calls himself, is a heart coach, yoga teacher, and transformational facilitator based in Australia and working internationally. He is committed to the global spread of what he calls conscious communication practices, an approach to human connection that puts love, awareness, and honest conversation and acknowledgement at the center of how we relate to ourselves and to each other. I first encountered Fish on Instagram, where his approach to conscious communication immediately caught my attention. I had listened to him on other podcasts and been drawn to the way he held both wisdom and warmth together without sacrificing either. When I invited him on, I already knew this would be a conversation that needed space to breathe. Fish has since written a book called How to Fall in Love with Humanity, what a title, which extends the philosophy at the heart of this conversation. But it is the conversation itself, the way he moved through his own grief using conscious communication, and what he discovered in that process that I want to return us to today. The central idea that Fish brought to this conversation is deceptively simple and profoundly challenging. He calls it bringing loving awareness to your pain. Most of us, Fish explains, are trained to respond to pain in one of the several ways. We dismiss it, minimize it, compare it to something else, assign fault for it, try to understand it intellectually, or fix it. What we almost never do, and what pain actually needs is to have it validated, witnessed, held without judgment and without the pressure to change. In episode 51 and 52, Fish took us through his own experience of grief and how he applied conscious communication not just with others, but with himself. His process moved through 3 stages. First, honestly acknowledging and validating all his thoughts, not editing or judging them. Then, feeling into the actual emotional experience of the grief itself. And from there, entering what he calls the field of yearning, the longing in the heart that sits beneath the pain, and that he recognized and honored, even when what was longed for could not be recovered. This is not a process of positive thinking or reframing. It is something closer to radical honesty in the presence of love, and offers grievers something that most grief frameworks does not. Permission to feel everything, fully without needing it to be different. And as you guessed, this was what drew me to Fish's approach, because the core at my work is to give people permission to feel everything, to be there, whatever they're feeling, without needing to move on, or be fixed, or having to be different. I use that in my approach, but having Fish put words to it and his ideas and have that structure truly made me love the way he works with individuals and couples and groups, and to see where I can implement even more of that. I think this double episode reached so many listeners because Fish articulates something that grievers already know in their bodies, but have rarely heard named it so clearly, that what pain most needs is not a solution. It needs presence. It needs witnessing. It needs to be met with the same quality of attention and care that we would offer someone we love. The idea that we can bring that same loving awareness to our own pain, that we can be that presence for ourselves, is both radical and deeply human. It's not easy, and Fish delivers it with a warmth and clarity that it makes it feel possible. And not only possible, but also necessary. I encourage you to listen to both parts together when you go back to the original conversation. Part 1 lays the foundation. Part 2 is where we go deeper into the practice. Both are worth your full attention. Which one was your favorite episode? I would love to hear from you. In the show notes, there's a button that says send a text. I'll read every one of your messages. Take care. Until next time. Thanks for listening to How to Deal with Grief and Trauma. If you'd like to be updated on future episodes, please subscribe to my newsletter on nathaliehimmelrich.com. If you need grief support, please contact me for a 30 minutes free discovery session. How to Deal with Grief and Trauma is produced and edited by me, Nathalie Himmelrich. To support this podcast, please rate, review, and subscribe to or follow the podcast on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you. And remember to keep breathing. I promise it will get easier.